Content warning, this episode contains brief discussion of child sexual assault. Pretty late in the episode. That's there, and now you've been content warned about it. It's the Forever Knight-A-Thon Season 2. We're recapping and reviewing every single episode of Season 2 of the 1990s Canadian police procedural Forever Knight about a vampire detective taking a bite at a crime. When I first started Season 2, Episode 9, Undue Process, I thought, I must have missed an episode. Natalie's working at a phone bank at a concerned citizen tip line for people to call if they have any information about a missing girl. It's revealed through some expositional dialogue that said girl is Natalie's goddaughter. So she's understandably pretty upset to find that her goddaughter has been the victim of a murder most foul. Natalie is told to stay off this case because she's too close to it, which she takes very personally, but I feel like is just kind of standard procedure. It just seems like that's how that works. And a medical examiner from a nearby district is called, Dr. Emma Reston. The killer? A one Ronald Galt, who is immediately apprehended and turned over to the police thanks to a group of looky-loos who spot him. He's ready to confess now, except that's just a ploy. He's fucking with them because he knows he can say whatever he wants and it won't be admissible because he's drunk. What a creep. He knows the ins and outs of this system and he's gonna take advantage of it. Galt also has a boo-boo on his head, so Dr. Reston is sent in to kiss it and make it better, as Natalie watches on bitterly. Ooh, look at how they're coddling this murderer. What's worse, his no-good public defender says they have to let him go, just because there's no evidence he did the crime. Ooh, these bleeding heart liberal softies, always getting in the way. And she's so smug about it too. What an evil person defending people's rights and insisting that the police obey the law. They are the law. They should get to arrest whoever they want. No take-backsies. Natalie decks her and is put on administrative leave for her troubles. The evil public defender then says that not only do they have to let Galt go, they also have to provide him with police protection because they've made him a target for vigilante justice and he could sue them. This horrible woman is trying to protect the department from a lawsuit. Ooh, I hate her so much. And Nick knows a thing or two about vigilante justice, having been hanged for a murder he didn't even commit back in ye olden days, which is so unfair because he never even killed the person he was accused of killing, just a bunch of other unrelated people. So he takes revenge on the mob that tried to execute him one by one. Nick and the Skank Man are stuck in a hotel with this murdering creep, and Skanky figures he might as well make the best of it and record everything in case Galt slips up. When Skankatronic goes to sleep, Nick finally uses his hypnotism to coerce a suspect into confessing. Why wouldn't that just be like the first thing you do? If you're interviewing a suspect and you have the ability to mind control them, why wouldn't the very first thing you do be like, hey, you can only tell me the truth now. You must tell me the truth about what happened and reveal any details that I could use in court to prove it. Galt goes off on a crazy rant about how all of the children he murdered most foul wanted him to do it and they consented to their murder. And that makes it okay for him to do. And he's a good guy even. And he does this on tape. And then Nick destroys the tape, and I don't really understand why. It's the stinger right before a commercial break, like we're meant to be asking why he's doing it, but they never explain. Maybe he doesn't want the evidence tainted by his hypnotism or something, like maybe he views it as unethical to get a confession via hypnotism, but he doesn't explain that. I thought that the episode would later go on to clarify that Nick had reason to believe Galt was innocent, and they didn't want Galt to face the same kind of vigilante justice he was forced to deal with in the flashbacks, but no, Galt did do it, and this evidence would have put him away. So I don't know why Nick chooses to destroy it. Speaking of things I don't really understand about this episode, in the flashback, we learn that, of course, Lacroix was the one who convinced people that Nick had done the murder that got him hanged. And then he says this.
Oh, come. You wouldn't want them to know who really did it, would you?
What? So I legitimately don't follow this plot point. Like, Lacroix probably did it, right? Why would Nick not want them to know that? Because they might hang Lacroix? So what? He'd be fine. I guess maybe, like, Lacroix might hurt them if they tried. Is that the implication? What is the point you're making here, Lacroix? That Nick will betray his principles and kill people out of vengeance, but since those people were misled by you, it's somehow not vengeance and he just killed innocent people? They still tried to kill him. Like, what fucking difference does it make? In both cases, either I missed something or the episode missed explaining something. In general, I get the impression that something important was cut out of this episode. There are long stretches of boring monologue from Galt where he speaks very, very slowly, like they were just padding for time. Anyway, Galt beefs it in his sleep, so all's well that ends well, right? He's dead, so you don't got to worry about whether or not he's going to go free. No, because there's still the matter of proving Galt actually killed a little girl so that mean old public defender won't get on their case about a negligent death of a suspect in their care. Ooh, she's so rotten. And Natalie's been doing some investigating of her own. How come Galt's fingerprints weren't matched when Dr. Reston tested them? Is Dr. Reston some kind of bad medical examiner who doesn't do a good job? No, it turns out. Reston's deal is that she takes out vigilante justice on people she thinks would otherwise slip between the cracks. Seeing that Galt wouldn't be punished by the law, she decided to kill him by discreetly poisoning his boo-boo with heart attack juice. She then intentionally botched the evidence on his case so that he'd go die somewhere else and nobody would look into it. And okay. Sure. But like he wasn't going to get away with it, Reston. The only reason he might have gotten away with it is because you botched the evidence for this plan. So it seems like you created your own problem. Natalie busts her because despite her personal connections to the case, she lives up to her principles and can't abide vigilante murders, unless Nick is doing them, in which case she's sometimes pretty cool with it. Okay. Skanky, too, has to process some feelings he didn't expect when Galt dies. Despite having said many times throughout the episode that he wanted to kill Galt, he wanted to see him dead, when he actually sees it go down, he feels responsible. It's a kind of humanizing moment for Skanky where we see that on some level, he recognizes that his tough talk is bullshit, and deep down he does respect the sanctity of human life. It retroactively paints his behavior in previous episodes, where he had seemed a little cavalier about the lives of the criminals he pursued, in a different light. He's badly shaken by this experience, and it's not at all played for laughs. This isn't the first time that Forever Knight has grappled with the concept of vigilante justice versus the letter of the law. It won't be the last. It is, however, perhaps the most straightforward. There is no ambiguity here. Vengeance is pointedly not justice in this episode. The show sets up this steelman example of a guy who undoubtedly deserves some good old-fashioned mob justice, and then plays that out to its logical conclusion. And Natalie can't live with the murder of this murderer. So she turns Reston in, and that's framed as a good thing to do. But they also frame Reston's motivations as sympathetic. She was sexually assaulted as a child, and then the man who did it was released and proceeded to assault her again. And so, as an adult, she uses her position to rid the world of people she believes might do something similar. A sensible motivation, and it poses an interesting moral dilemma for Natalie. Mercifully, the show doesn't quite go so far as to condemn Reston despite condemning her methods. She does get the best line of the episode.
I am so sorry. I'm not. I never will be.
Tomorrow, Nick tries to protect a man from his Mafia Don father and has to turn to LaCroix for help. I want to give a special thank you to my web puppets over on Patreon. We've got Wolfman Jack, Cooper Holmes, Joe McClory, Liz Widow, C.H. Phillips, Gideon, David Kaler, and Andrew Roger.
And I, Bobby Duke, the star of the channel, would like to thank these other people who's also the stars of the channel. We got Jay Torney, Connor Patrick Griffin, Rachel Ratt, Cato Moore, Carpad, Josh Manes, and Hyla Tracy. Hope you're enjoying this Forever Knight shit that Mildo insists on doing every year. I don't really get it myself. I don't know. I'm trying to reduce my screen time. That's just me, though, you know? Like, who cares about some show from the 90s nobody's ever heard of?